All right, we're going to try something new tonight on Comic Book Canon. That's right. Here's the deal. Chris is stuck in traffic and will be late, but he will be here. I promise you that. So Chris and I came up with an idea to offer an immense opportunity to our audience. The first person who says they want to be a live guest co-host on the show, let us know in the comments right now. Yeah, because why not? Because we got to wait for Chris, and I can only do so much. I'm not that witty or intelligent to carry a conversation by myself, as you all probably will agree with. So why don't we just do that? Who's in? I will not Matt Stadge. Let's see. Wow. No takers? Guys, you could put this on your resume. You could probably earn some sort of college credit from it. Peter Thornton's just excited to be here, I guess, but we are offering up one slot as a guest co-host. Matt Labno says definitely not him. All right, you know what? I guess we'll just go to news. You guys are kind of boring, disappointing me that you don't want to be a live guest co-host right now. Give you one more opportunity before I just get into the news. No takers. I'm not gonna beg. Oh, by the way, let's talk shit on this. Yeah, the Cowboys are playing the Bucks. They're gonna implode. Let's all just admit that. By the way, it's just been their MO the past 25 years. They won one or two playoff games. What's up? We got issues. How you doing? I'll say it one more time. Who wants to be a guest co-host on Comic Book Canon tonight? Let us know in the comments. If not, I'm just going to jump into the news and wait for Chris to get here. Chris is stuck in traffic. Sounds like you guys had the split screen on between the game, the Bucks versus Cowboys game, and us. So I'm honored. I know Chris would be as well. Looking like the Eagles are playing Giants. 49ers, Chris's team, will be playing either the Bucks or the Cowboys, so it should be interesting. All right, y'all lost your chance. That's it. Moving on. I'm moving on to the news, and actually, we got some. Oh yeah, Raising Elm would be awesome. I just don't know where he is. That would be pretty dope. Good suggestion. All right, let's just get into it because we got a brand new look at one of our favorite characters on the show. You know him as Watlock. That's right, Adam Warlock. Empire Magazine provides us with this amazing new look of Adam Warlock. In addition, they interviewed James Gunn. We got some interesting nuggets here. Gunn says he's definitely not a good guy. What we're seeing is the infant form of Warlock, newly out of the cocoon, and he does not understand life very well. He's basically a baby. Gunn also says about Will Poulter, who portrays Warlock, I wanted somebody who was youthful, and I wanted the person who had the dramatic chops and the comedic chops, not only for this movie, but for what Marvel will use Adam Warlock for in the future. He could become this really important character, teases Gunn. All the time raising him in that cocoon looks to have been worth it. So yeah, as we're seeing where they're setting up more, obviously more characters to carry on the tradition of this cohesive universe that we all know and love. I think this design looks fantastic. I really, really, really want to know Matt Stadge's take on this because he came up with the name Watlock. I would like to know Chris's take on this too because he's the biggest Warlock fan we all know and love. What does he have? 25 copies of Warlock in the Infinity Watch #1. But let us know in your thought in the comments what you guys think. Caleb Leland is loving it as well. Who else do we got here? Yeah. All right. As you guys can see, I'm struggling trying to stretch here because I don't want to move too quickly to the next topic. But here I go again. Isn't that salt and pepper? I think it is. Moving on. Also from Empire, we got an amazing new look at Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania with this gorgeous Empire cover. Last week's trailer was fantastic, and we are at a fever pitch for this film, which comes out in a month, people. One more month to our next MCU offering. From Empire, not only did we get this amazing magazine cover featuring all the major players, but we also got this image of Kang in his time chair. Woo, boy, loving that. Jonathan Majors will be a force and will be more of a challenge than Thanos was. As Kevin Feige describes the character, Kang's a very powerful person, but when we meet him, he's in a position where he needs to get that power back. He has a ship and a device that would allow him to go anywhere and anywhen when he wants to be, if he can get it online. If he only had access to genius scientists with Pym particles. Yeah, like seriously, these images, I'm really getting excited because this is the beginning of a new dynasty, as they're kind of marketing it as, with this big bad Kang. And there's going to be so many different versions of him. Along with that, there's a rumor that in the Loki season 2, we're going to see a variety of versions of Kang too. So maybe Jonathan Majors will be appearing in that show too. Let's see what you guys think though. Keep popping in the comments here. Let us know how you're feeling here. Yes, Ant-Man looks amazing and Kang looks great, 100%. Peter Thornton's on daddy duty. Rain check on guest hosting. All right, we'll take that rain check. What's up, Mike Hags? Good to see you here. Jordan Nori, I know football. I'm excited to go jump on that game once the show is over. Anyways, I'm loving these looks here. I'm very excited for this film. Want to know what your feelings are as well. That time machine, this goes back to the first appearance of Kang in Avengers. It's 8, I do believe. Avengers 8, and he's sitting on the invisible time chair. But this is a throwback to that for sure. This is an ode to that issue right there, as he's just chilling on that chair, ready to just conquer every timeline possible. So right there, people, that is the news. That's the news. Here I am doing the show by myself. By the way, we did ask 360 Comics, aka Joe, aka our Tom Hanks of Comic Book Canon. He was not available because he is in a Magic the Gathering tournament, and I hope he wins all the Magic. I really do. All right. I don't think I'm going to jump into Chris's segment right here. He, as we know, props or flops. You guys all know and love that segment. We have some amazing entries. 3 books, 2 entries, but 3 books. So I'm excited to go over those once Christopher gets here. We could do an Ask Me Anything, but I don't think that I'm that interesting of a person to ask me anything. You guys pretty much know all about me. I do have an update. I am sending out my EGS comics tomorrow to Tony, my daughter's comic book. My daughter's comic book is not here, unfortunately. And that Spider-Man comic book, that means a lot to me. Yes, Nukes, it was a slow week indeed, but you know what? We have that now. Once Ant-Man comes out, I'm sure we're going to be talking about a variety of things. Also, DC, we should be getting some news there as well from James Gunn. But screw it. Why don't we just get into Fresh from the Comic Shop, fly from the pressing salon? Why don't we just do it while we're waiting for Chris? It's kind of here's a good question. Thanks, Mike Hags, for asking me this. Wait, hold on. Mike Hags asking me, who wins in an arm wrestling match between Juggernaut or Colossus? Oh boy, that's a good one. I'm gonna say Juggernaut does, because he's unstoppable, I do believe. Therefore, I would say Juggernaut over Colossus. Let us know what you think in the comments. That's a great question, though, Mike Hags. I do like that. Oh, Cable Leland, a.k.a. Caleb Leland, does not agree with me. He's saying Colossus, but that's okay. That's okay. Actually, why don't we just say hello to everybody first before we do Fresh from the Comic Shop? We got Caleb Leland, of course. Creepy Cow Comics. Josh's Comics. Hey, what's happening, Josh? From Delaware, I do believe, my home state. 20 minutes outside of Philly, so that's why I align with Philly teams. Nukes Comics. Yep, Cannon versus and Dallas and Tampa Bay. We got Matt Stadge. We got who else do we got? Matt Labno. We got Comic Toby. I think Comic Toby is a Cowboys fan. I despise the Cowboys, So does Joe, aka 360. Actually, Chris hates the Cowboys too. We got issues. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Brandon Riley. Had my hands full for the kids for a minute, but if you need a second pretty face, happy to jump in. Brandon Riley, what is your IG tag? I will DM you the link right there. Thank you, Brandon Riley. Hopefully you're still here because we'll have you on there. Who else? Yep, Comic Toby, his powers are magical. That's why I think that he would win. Who else? Sean Ryan. How's it going, Sean? Rojo Quid. Funhouse Comics. Hello. Comic Toby. I like the Eagles and 49ers. I think you were talking. I don't know. Okay. So Brandon Riley, the collector without fear. I dig that name. Let's look it up. Guys, we're going to have the collector without fear on the show. Here we go. This will be fun. This is a first for Comic Book Ken. Let's see. There we go. All right. Oh, we haven't even followed you? Shame on us. Well, we're following you now, and I'm going to message you the link. And as soon as you jump on, you can show your pretty face here. There we go. Boom. It's done, people. You cannot take that back. That link, although I can control it. But oh, come on, Nukes. Go Cowboys. Get out of here. Super Crispy Comics. I do believe Super Crispy is in San Diego. Does your allegiance still lie with the Chargers? Because wow, they really shit the bed there. Sean Ryan, Bills fan. That was a close game right there. Gonna be a bad night to be a Cowboys fan. Jordan, I don't know if you are a Cowboys fan or not, but man, I can't. And Josh is offering to jump on, but I just sent that to Brendan Riley, so he gets it. He took us up on the offer. We will maybe have another time where we have an audience member come on as well. I just remember when Super Crispy, yeah, San Diego. So I guess you do not like the Chargers anymore, and you were happy to see them lose the way they did. Caleb, I don't like missing your fresh from the comic shop submissions. I apologize if that happened. There were a few actually submissions as well. And here we go. Brandon Riley, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good. Shame on us for not following you. Thank you for joining in.
No problem. I figured I'll cover for Chris for a little bit.
Well, that's fantastic because guess what? You now have responsibilities that you probably weren't aware of. Before you do, tell us about yourself. Where do you live? How long you've been collecting? Those kinds of things.
Collecting for about as long as I've been alive. It's like 40 years. And I live in Boston. So no football love for me this year. Patriots did not perform.
Oh, no, they did not. No.
But we were running out of fingers for rings, so it's okay to take a break, for a little bit. But
I have an ode to you for my fresh from the comic shop. I'm gonna actually I am going to it's my ode to you again as appreciation for joining. Okay, so you've been collecting for 40 years or so. So what are your kind of like? What are you leaning? Marvel, DC?
I love pretty much everything, indies included, Marvel, DC. But I really grew up, I learned to reading comics, and I started off heavy in Marvel. So that's always been where I've kind of leaned. Right now I'm in the midst of working on collecting every Daredevil book ever printed.
Hence the collector without fear. That is an amazing Grail run.
And I'm almost there. Okay. I'm getting close. So
okay. That's fantastic. By the way, we love your setup right there. What do you have?
Thank you. So this is my kind of collection room with statues, hot toy figures, prints, everything. We actually had. So I do a comic book stream every Monday night at 9:15, 9:30ish, but Eastern. But we took tonight off. But Chris has actually come on with us. And he actually did. did a stream with us right after. It was actually about the Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So he came on like it was that week that dropped. And so we had a fun time with Chris coming on the stream, talking comics and Black Panther and stuff.
Well, you'll be talking comics with us. And can you please drop your channel in the chat, but also DM it to me so I can
yeah, sure.
put it
so it's actually
well.
it's actually my friend's channel. So I work in I run my own video production business here in Boston, and so I people always ask me, and I always refuse. I will never start my own YouTube channel just because if I'll be anal about like, well, I have to make it perfect and do everything, and I want my hobby to stay my hobby, so I like jumping in on other people's channels rather than trying to run my own. But the I'll type it into the chat right now, but it's 1/6 Scale Man is the name of the YouTube channel. It's my good friend Lael who runs that. So if anybody wants to check out past episodes, the one, like I said, the one with Chris was November, I think it was.
Well, that's that's when Wakanda Forever came out. It's funny you say that. I'm in production as well. I guarantee we know some of the same people. I've worked in Boston quite a few times. So maybe we'll hang out after the show and talk shop. But we don't want to bore all you people. By the way, and I know what you're saying, starting your own channel, because look, I mean, this is below public access TV right now, and you and I are not used to that kind of thing. So anyways, but we do what we can. We talk about the things that we love, and I am very happy that you're here. Chris will be ecstatic that you're here. You know, he knows you. So why don't we just move on to Fresh from the Comic Shop, where you do have responsibilities. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this segment, but we have a fantastic motion graphic that we introduce right here. Fresh from the Comic Shop, live from the Press and Salon, where we ask the audience to send in their fresh gets each and every week. Now, these fresh gets can be 2 days old. They can be 30 years old. As long as they're fresh in our audience's collection, we want to see them. Not only that, Brendan, people can win prizes, amazing prizes from EGS. Let me tell you what EGS is first. They are making their way up there with CGC and CBCS. They are no bullshit kind of company. They do have fast turnaround times. They have free grader notes. And the big thing about them that differentiates them, one of the big things is that they have optional custom labels, which is amazing. You don't have those boring kind of blue labels or yellow labels, green, purple, depending on what you submitted. So they're really kind of kicking it up a notch, so you can customize your own slab, which is really fantastic. Tony Trombetta does a great job of running this company. He's an honest dude. You can hit him up. He'll talk shop with you. He'll talk about your book specifically. Great guy, and they sponsor this segment right here. If you in your order, if you do this, you can save 5% by using the code Cannon5. And yeah, I'm by the way, Brendan, I'm sending out my books tomorrow to EGS, my first EGS submissions. So I'm pretty excited about what's that?
What are you sending?
I am sending Amazing Spider-Man number 96, which is the first arc, the first of a three issue arc where Stan Lee went up against the comics. Actually, Marvel went up against the Comics Code, and the government came and asked them to do a story arc on the negative effects of drugs. So they did it, but the Comics Code's like, no, you can't talk about drugs. We're not going to just put the stamp on there. Stan Lee pushed for like, well, screw it. We don't need the stamp. It's stupid. What is it? So that was the first time where they kind of put kick down the Comics Code and was like, this is ridiculous. This arbitrary kind of system. So yeah. Also, I sent in my daughter's first comic book she published, which is Sally Soaphands and A Lion Girl, the case of the mystery of Captain Cold Hands. So I'm very excited about that. It's got a lot of first appearances, guys. So yeah,
I mean, to have your kids' book slabbed, that's just awesome. Like,
she's 7. She doesn't get it. I'm like, I'm sending this in to get it slabbed. She's like, no. I'm like, nope. It's gonna be really cool. Trust me. So yeah.
So my youngest is 7, and she would be in the safe. She'd be like, "What do you mean you're putting it?" Then I can't read it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
When she saw it, she'd be like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that because when she sees it, oh, she did see it. Your daughter did see it.
No, no, but I'm saying, like, if my daughter had drawn one and
Oh,
then
gotcha.
I was gonna, like, get one slabbed, she would be like, "That's weird," but then when she saw it, she'd be like, "Oh, this is really cool."
Yeah. So she'll be into it when she sees it, I'm sure. But speaking of slabs, this is what y'all can win for our January Fresh from the Comic Shop EGS slab. Look at this gorgeous, Amazing Spider-Man #7 Tyler Kirkham homage. Y'all know what that homage is right there. That's Amazing Spider-Man 300. Tom McFarlane, but that's and as you can see the custom slab up at the top right there. It's quite a nice slab and an offering. So we're just gonna get right into it right now. But before we do, actually, we had our semis where semifinals last week where we had Son of Comics over Neighbor to the North. Son of Comics with the Green Goblin set up right there, and Neighbor to the North with the Dragon Ball Z. So, Son of Comics, you're moving on to the finals, and we'll start picking our next semifinalists this week. All right, let's just get into it. We got Josh Comics 01. First silver appearance of the Penguin. Another huge grail acquired from my Rogue Gallery. First appearance is definitely on the lower grade side, but I'm extremely happy to have it. It's in the 2.0 to 3.0 range. I'm looking forward to getting it graded. That is a gorgeous Silver Age looking book right there. Brandon, your thoughts?
I love those classic 12-cent covers from back in the day. They have such personality, vibrant colors against a white backdrop. Like that's a home run for me. I think anybody that is a DC, a Batman fan, somebody who likes that 12-cent era. I mean, that's a beautiful cover.
That is not our
It
dark and
presents really
brooding.
well too.
It definitely does. That is not our brooding Batman that we all have come accustomed
No.
to as well. There was that period. So it's a beautiful piece of history, is what that is. All right, moving on. We have our semifinalist winner, Son of Comics, with a nice little tribute here. Kevin Conroy autographed 2019 Batman Beyond #37, the Manipul variant. Rip to Kevin Conroy. Thank you for all you have contributed to us. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Conroy is now synonymous with Batman and his like for me, I don't know about you, but when I read Batman, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice, and what
Oh yeah.
the imprint that he's
It,
left on Batman alone it goes far.
It's funny because everybody, it's always the age old debate of like who's your Batman? It's Keaton or it's Adam West or it's Christian Bale or whatever. But
Mhm.
so many people choose something from animation, which you would not expect. Like that shows how transcendent his performance was. That it doesn't matter if it's live action, if when you're reading the comics, most people they're hearing Kevin Conroy's voice.
Yeah, and again, that's a legacy. He will live on, and he will live on connected to Batman. Everybody puts him with Batman.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful setup you have there. Son of Comics. Moving on to Marvel Man 616. Spider-Man and Batman #1. I never owned this book nor seen it with my own eyes until today. Never knew it had an embossed cover. So awesome. I really like this pick right here. I didn't know about this. Is probably like late 90s. It has to be. Looks like Mark Bagley too, a Mark Bagley cover. But I wasn't familiar with this book. How about you, Brandon?
I've never seen this book, but now that I have, I want it. I it looks great. Like it looks like the kind of Keaton Batman like yellow style logo. Yeah,
Yep.
it might be Bagley. It definitely has like it's not McFarlane, but it's got those large eyes for Spidey.
Mm-hmm.
But those are arguably the two biggest characters in all of comic book history. So to
Yep.
see them on a cover like that, I think Batman's getting a little bit more love because he's got
Yeah.
Batman and then the Signal above him.
Yeah. You're
Spidey's
right
just
about
kind of
that.
hanging out in Gotham, maybe. But that's a gorgeous book.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Caleb Leland actually says he has that book. Caleb, tell us about. This has to be a late '90s book? Is that Mark Bagley in terms of the cover? Let us know. We are inquiring minds, and we do want to know. So, Brendan, I'm not sure if you have new books right by you, because usually we have our guests share.
I don't have a new book right by me. I'm actually so I would have actually I was supposed to go today, but I had to reschedule for tomorrow. But I am driving about 35, 40 minutes north of me to my favorite comic book shop. It's called Little Giant Comics in Salem, New Hampshire.
Okay.
And so I'm just about a little bit south here in Boston. It's where I've bought a ton of my really good Daredevil books. Tomorrow, I will be going to pick up Daredevil 2 and 3.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
so those are big gets for me.
Yeah.
This is at that same shop is where a couple months back I bought my Daredevil #1. So I have that and 2 and 3, and then I'm only missing one more, and I have 1 through 10 in the original Daredevil. So I would have had 2 and 3 with me right now, but I had to reschedule my trip up there
Wow,
to
man.
tomorrow.
So you're getting 1 and 2 tomorrow.
No,
Congratulations on that.
so I have one already. I bought it from him a couple months back, and I'm getting 2 and 3 tomorrow.
Got it. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, those are still really early issues of Daredevil. So,
yeah.
all right, then I'm just gonna go, because it'll be about me right now. I've had some opportunities to go to some comic book shops. I usually don't have the time to do that, and I'm finding some good stuff for cheap. I got Cloak and Dagger #1. This is their 4-issue miniseries. That came out in the 80s. This is their first series ever. I got this for like $3. It's in great condition. It's a newsstand. So I was very happy with this. I was very
Nice.
happy with this find. I did enjoy the Hulu show for a little bit. Then it kind of wore on me. I do hope that they do something with these characters because they're really, really cool. I dig what they do there. What's up, Phil Ailing? How are you doing? All right, moving on.
Cloak
We got.
Cloak and Dagger are in the Savage Avengers right now, actually, in current comics.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And
Actually, I stopped reading. I don't pick up Savage Event. There's so many Avengers books. It's really hard for me to keep up.
they are, and really, they have nothing to do with the actual like core team of Avengers at all. You could call it just make up a completely different name for it. But
Mhm.
the recent Savage Avengers run that started last year is actually pretty good. And Cloak and Dagger are a part of it, along with Elektra, Punisher, 2099, like a handful. It's pretty good.
What about is that the one with Conan too? When they
So
had the
it
Red.
was he just left the book. They
Yeah.
had they had an out for him on how they would, his character would leave because Marvel no longer has the rights to Conan now.
Yep.
It's with Titan
Yep.
Comics.
Yep.
So there's actually a lot of buzz around like Conan books right now. And actually they're releasing in March, they're releasing Savage Avengers Omnibus.
Oh,
And
interesting. Okay.
people are really excited for that because Marvel's not going to be able to reprint that until they get the rights back, and who knows if or when that'll ever happen. So like Conan stuff
Interesting.
is kind of hot right now.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I'll check it out on Marvel Unlimited. By the way, Josh's Comics. If anyone wants to see more of my books, I have weekly haul videos on my channel. Give me a sub. If y'all wouldn't mind, Josh, put your link in the comments here. But this is another Delaware boy like myself. I'm pretty sure he's going to buy everybody a Wawa sub if you sub him up. Get it? He won't do that. He won't. He'll be mad if you guys actually expect that at me. All right, moving on. We got Mike Haggs, 77. What do you got? You know what I like about this? We see his face. Thanks for showing your face. And by the way, I like this too. What's good, everyone? Hope you all have a safe and fun-filled Friday and an even better weekend. Rocking with this 1977 Black Panther #1, the first ongoing. What's he saying here? First ongoing solo book for Black Panther, and he found it for $20. Also, a good post for Jack Kirby January. Is it his birthday this month or something?
I don't know.
$20 though for Black Panther
That
#1.
Yeah, that's a steal of a deal.
Absolutely, 100%. Good stuff, Mike Haggs. Good stuff. By the way, I'd
Wow.
like to introduce you all to my good friend, partner in crime, and co-host of the show, Christopher. Sorry, Brendan.
Hey, man.
Brendan.
What's going on, Chris?
How you doing, man?
So,
I figured I'd jump in until you got out of traffic there.
That is much appreciated. All thank you guys. Yeah, my son got his first car today, so it was an adventure.
Oh,
It took a lot longer than we expected. I had to hit up 4 different ATMs. Yeah, so but it was a special day for my son, and thank you for Brendan for filling in, and
no
I'm just
problem.
glad I made it here. So yeah,
You made it. That's the most important thing. We've been having fun. Like Brendan just jumped on and just took over. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. I didn't know you were on I guess his friend's show. I guarantee you, Brendan and I know some of the same people in Boston. We'll have to go over that after the show. But Brendan, if you have time, we'd love to have you stay on for the rest of the show.
Happy to stick around. Yeah.
And guess what? You're our first guest of 2023.
Hey, there we go.
That's huge. That's huge. I mean, that's huge.
I'll put that on my LinkedIn.
Too many people were clamoring to get on this thing here.
Yeah,
and luckily
it
was really tough. But before we continue on, I forgot to mention what we look for to move on to the semifinals is presentation, how you guys present your books in terms of the pit. Give us a nice artistic shot, well-composed shot. Give us that depth of field. Give us that, something that connects to the book. Have fun with it. It could be a unique book. Unique doesn't mean $30,000, but unique does mean something we haven't seen before. Like what, Brennan? Like this right here. Chris, have you seen this book before? Spider-Man and Batman?
Nope.
Yeah. So that was a pickup by Marvel Man 616 Comics. So that's a good example of that. And story, what does this book mean to you? Pull at our heartstrings. It goes very far. Does it remind you of your father? Does it remind you of your friend who got you into comic books? Does it remind you of the first superhero you ever heard of or saw or fell in love with? Just let us know. All right. Moving on. Man, this is really this show is all over the place, Chris. I'm just having trouble. By the way, Chris, do you have a score for the Bucks Dallas game? Do you know?
No. Oh, what right now? Because it's 10 minutes in, right? 20 minutes in. No, I don't. I'm about to pull it up right now, though.
All right. That's all right. And as you do,
for me, as
how many people do you think are watching just for the Mandalorian season 3 trailer drop, though?
Well, that's another thing too. I would really like to see. Actually, somebody. I think we're not gonna get an update. Anyways, moving on. We got Arana Escarlata. This is. I'm not quite sure if it's gonna. Chris, we got to talk. I'm not quite sure if this is going to be a submission, but it's really fucking cool. Original cover art of New 52 Justice League number 31, the first cover appearance of Jessica Cruz. This is the original art, guys. So it's I think we've had original art, but not the original art of comic books on this show. This is outstanding. Yeah. Chris, do we consider this? Consider this?
Here's the thing. It's called, remember, and I've said this before because you said I cheated bringing on a Transformer toy.
Never said you cheated.
But what did I say? I got it from a comic shop. So
it is fresh.
I don't know. It's a tough. We could do an audience vote if they think that this should be eligible.
Yeah. Brendan, as kind of an outsider, your thoughts?
I mean, that thing is beautiful. That is comic book art to me. I would say yes.
All right. Well, there you go. Guess what? The yes has it. We will consider this.
There we go.
To move on. Speaking of moving on, supercrispy.comics from San Diego. With the holidays and my car breaking down and all kinds of crap, it's been a while since I've gone out to look for any books. So sorry, guys. Siri is talking to me. I don't know why. So it was so nice to get out and spend an hour or so at the comic book shop using up a gift card I got for Christmas. I grabbed a bunch of Thor filler books, but this was my favorite: an epic battle scene cover and epic fighting throughout the book. Guys, this is from my formative years right here. This run. Ron Frenz was the artist. I don't know who the writer was, but Ron Frenz, I loved his style, not knowing anything about Jack Kirby, and he straight up. It mimics Jack Kirby on this run, and I just absolutely loved everything about this run. So this takes me back. It absolutely takes me back. And talking about depth of field, this is a well composed shot. Supercrispy.comics works with wood. So as you can see, he's got his customized book holder, the Hulk book holder. So that's really, really cool. That's what I'm assuming that is. He works with wood and leather, actually. So really cool. Absolutely. Appreciate you sharing that with us. Chris, your first fresh scout of the week. What do you got?
Me? Fresh get? No, I pulled something out. I only got one book though.
Okay, go for it.
This is all I got for this week, guys. But I was able to grab it again out of a recent collection that I purchased, and it's similar to a couple books I showed off last week because it's a Silver Age Adventure Comics number 337. Now, Adventure Comics, isn't a huge title, but it showcased a lot of good characters like Legion of Superheroes. Very, very high grade though. This is probably, it's got a few spine ticks. I'd say a nice, very fine. So maybe next week, and I know, we try to keep it fresh, but I'll show off a few more of my picks from this collection.
Yeah.
Because Silver Age, higher grade Silver Age is just awesome.
That's beautiful for sure. Good pick right there. Good pick up. Moving on, we got our good friend Tom Hanks of the show, 360 Comics. He is at a Magic the Gathering tournament. I was telling Brendan, or actually somebody, I don't know who I was telling, but first of all, this book's incredible. I'll tell the story later. When the 1950s rolled around, superheroes lost favor among comic readers, and even the great Captain America comics added weird tales to the name in order to reinvigorate sales. The effort was underwhelming, and Cap's name disappeared from comic titles for a few years until they started up again in 1954. With this issue right here. Not only is this the first Captain America issue under the Atlas name, formerly Timely and later to be Marvel, but it features some incredible Carl Burgos art with John Romita interiors. Many thanks to J Fink 11 Comics for this golden age gem. That is beautiful. Like Joe's been picking up some I can't stand this expression, bangers. But this one is absolutely up there. It's gorgeous. Brendan, your thoughts?
I mean, if it's basically like you're holding comic book history in your hand, like it looks like, you're traveling back to that era. Everything about the art style, even for a 2.0, that presents really, really well. You got vibrant colors. You don't have too many dark areas near the spine where you're going to get color breaking ticks. It looks great. I love that.
Yeah, it's good. Like he really does pick up quite a few amazing books, actually a lot of amazing books. So kudos to you, Joe. I'm going to go next. Chris dropped for a hot second. Not sure what's going on with that, but we're okay. We're running through the show. This is what I'm dedicating to you, Brendan. I love DC. I don't really share much of my DC love in Fresh from the Comic Shops, but the next two books are DC. This one is just a great cover I got for $3 actually, not $6. And Brendan, why am I dedicating this to you?
There you go. The funny thing is I've seen that book pop up a couple of times in the last 3 weeks on different channels where people have managed to get really good copies for under $20. Just, I mean, it might as well be Tom Brady on there,
exactly.
But that's it's a fun cover. I mean, it looks like he went a little heavy on the teeth whitening there, I don't know how it's up to, but that it's funny that's the one that you picked because like I said, I've seen that same book pop up on a bunch of different channels in the last couple of weeks. It just seems like people are really getting, Green Lantern fever, and specifically it's that book that, everybody's finding, and I love it. I love that cover.
The cover's insane. I think a lot has to do with the cover. But again, I'm dedicating this to you and your how many rings. It's an interesting fact I learned on the pre-show on ESPN. You'll never guess it, but Tom Brady has as many playoff wins as the Dallas Cowboys franchise.
Man. If I was a Cowboys fan, there would have been a single tear just rolling down my cheek right there.
I despise a Cowboy fan. I despise Cowboy fan. Chris is back. Chris, I just spewed off this fact that I think you're Tom Brady has as many playoff wins as the Cowboys franchise.
Wow, that's interesting.
Total. Very interesting. I had no idea. Anyways,
Now,
moving on.
Since you dedicated
by the
that to
way,
me,
Chris,
I will say to anybody watching, if you hate Tom Brady, I don't begrudge you, okay? Because I'm glad we had him for as long as we did and that he performed as well as he did here. But we've had people on Boston teams like, Kurt Schilling was great to have on the mound, but as like a human being, I was like, I don't really like that guy. So, but I was glad that he won for us. It's like I can perfectly understand if people dislike Tom Brady. To me, I don't think you can discount his talent, but you can say, "Oh, I hate that guy." I don't begrudge you that. So,
I don't know him. I don't know him.
Exactly. None of us know him personally.
I'm neutral when it comes to him. My only problem with him is that he's sponsored by UGG boots, so that's the only problem I really have. Other than that, I don't care. I really don't. The Eagles beat him in the Super Bowl. I'm whatever. Chris, by the way, I just dedicated this to Brendan for obvious reasons. So
nice.
Anyway,
and you said you got that for $6?
Yeah. What's that?
You got that for like $6?
$3.
$3. Nice.
Yes, it says 6 on there. They gave it to me for half off. So yeah, crazy. Anyways, Dan De La Torre. Thank you. Damn right. Lee Neer, hey, how are you? Nice to see that you're here. And yeah, well, thank you for welcoming us to Mondays. All right, moving on though. Gosh, this is a great show for being loosey goosey. I'm having fun. We got Nukes Comics, guys. Nukes Comics is up next, and fresh from the comic shop, Spidey 1. This is the second print. This is a great reboot from 2016 that anyone could jump right into and be locked in. Robbie Thompson's writing is quick and snappy. Nick Branch's artwork is crisp and detailed. I picked this one up from DBS. Maybe I'll pick up the entire run. Good stuff indeed. I think I say that a lot. I just noticed that. But that is good stuff indeed. But I'm enjoying the latest Amazing Spider-Man run, which I'm reading on Marvel Unlimited with John Romita Jr. drawing. I'm actually enjoying that. I know the last run, Chris, you were not a fan of. I didn't even pick up based off of what you were saying.
For a while, I thought Nick Spencer was he teased like these things happening, and it just never happened. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's a waste of 2 years.
It's been a rough go for Spidey fans for a good stretch now, and I grew up on Spidey and X-Men, so I was excited for this new like Dark Web event, and I'm just like, it's been rough. But I will say, the shining light, if you're a Spidey fan, at least for me, because it's an off the beaten path approach to it, they're on like the 3rd issue of a 5-issue miniseries, the Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh is
actually really entertaining. So it's nice little miniseries to dive into if you're not vibing with the current Spidey runs. So
yeah, I'll check that out too, because I am enjoying this. It just feels like we probably grew up in the same era, Brendan, where Pete was always always juggling his personal life, and Todd McFarlane and all that stuff. And it just has a kind of same feeling as for me reading this. It's not bad. It's pretty good. I do like it. So moving on though, we have who do we have? We just did news. Guys, this is a perfect example of getting creative. Perfect example of pulling at our heartstrings. It's just, again, take note, please. Raising Elm, he crushes it every time. I can't believe our little man will be 1 year old next weekend. He's up and going nonstop now, just exploring the world around him. We are constantly picking up his toys, telling him no when he goes for chords, and watching him lift himself up on furniture. Randy, his wife, and I are wore out by the end of the day, but Eli is totally worth it. We have been so busy with our little man lately that I haven't found time to go to a comic book store. However, my wife surprised me the other day with a 5-issue lot of indie comics, which included the Fantastic Four annual number 16, the first appearance of Dragon Lord. Damn, I love her. Love the little man too. Honestly, man, Raising Elm, he is just always so positive, always has some great things to say, and always puts together an amazing Fresh from the Comic Shop. And we truly appreciate you. This is, again, something that it's his family right here. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. This is family. That's what that says to me. So I I absolutely, I appreciate that quite a bit. Quite a bit.
As a
All right.
parent, I can always say that, like, whenever you can use your children to your advantage, you're raising them, you're paying their way for what you've earned to take advantage of them a little bit when you can, and he did it there. So well done.
That's I like your observation too, because I'm so naive going into this, but you're like, I see what he did here. I see what he did here.
Yeah.
He's not tricking anybody. All right, moving on. We got Mark Leneker. Let me tell you about Mark Leneker, Brendan. This guy brings the great nuggets. He brings like a wealth of information, and he did it again. And I think it kind of jogged a memory for me. I think. Microbots, 1971 from Gold Key. This was a one-shot tie-in to the short-lived Kenner toy line of die-cast robots sporting names like Hoopter and Bullzor. This is the variant with a painted back cover and no ads. I also have a copy with ads, including a Mark Jewelers. Who knows which one might be more collectible at this point? A comic curiosity from a half-century ago that pre-ages tie-ins like Micronauts and Transformers. I remember some sort. This was before my time. But I remember some sort of a toy that had robots and you could pull off their limbs. They had magnets on there, but they were robots and they were die cast. And I don't know if they were the Micronauts, but anyways, I do Microbots. I mean, I do appreciate always what Mark Leneker sends us in. 630 Collectibles, aka Matt Labno. I visited Unicorn Comics. By the way, this is another great story right here. I visited Unicorn Comics and Cards in Villa Park, Illinois for the first time, and it was such a great experience. They had a ton of old Silver Age war comic books, which were fun to flip through. They also had plenty of superhero stuff that I collected, including some later issues in the Silver Surfer Volume 3 run. The later issues had a lower print run, so it was nice to fill some holes with some high-grade copies. Unicorn Comics only takes cash, which I have no problem with. I'd have problems with that, by the way, just because I'm lazy. But I did have to leave to walk a block down the street to get some cash at a 7-Eleven. When I came back, some guy was in the store with his son and was showing the owner of the store a book that he purchased back in the 80s from that very store for $75. Okay, guys, $75. That book was Amazing Spider-Man #1. The owner was overjoyed to see the book and was explaining how 4 have passed through the store, and he personally has 1 in his collection. This particular copy was ungraded and in a Kraft Comics case for display. The owner of the book was willing to let me look at the book, and it was quite the sight to behold. That's one of the great things about collectibles is the stories you hear and things you get to witness. It really keeps things fun. That's an awesome story, by the way.
Yeah,
that he got to witness going into the store. The guy came back with his Amazing Spider-Man #1 he bought for $75 back in the 80s, which to me would have been like insane. I went bonkers when I bought G.I. Joe #1 for $20, but yeah, I really like that story. And ending the week here for Fresh from the Comic Shop is Nori Jordan. This week, I picked up some really good books and had a hard time deciding on what to share. When I saw a book that wasn't anything expensive, but really made me remember why I started collecting comics, I picked up the Daredevil #7 variant cover, which pays respect to the first comic I ever purchased, which is Daredevil 181. I had to put these books next to each other and think of how many great storylines there have been since it was published to this day. Daredevil, Elektra, and of course Bullseye are my favorite characters. Most importantly, without this book and my love of Bullseye, I would not be the crazy Thunderbolts collector I am today. Take care, everyone. Brendan, I'm positive you have that book in your collection.
Daredevil 181 was the first 9.8 I ever bought.
Nice. Okay. All right. So that does
the first one.
something.
Death of Elektra, that cover, and I picked up the recent variant homage to it as well. I love that cover. It was, that was a time, and Frank Miller loved to use that yellow backdrop for a lot of his covers. I also have actually one that he signed at Fan Expo Boston this past summer of 194, I believe it is, with Daredevil, a yellow background, and it's a Punisher issue with him and with Punisher in it, and he's holding the gun. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I absolutely love it. So yeah, these just they hit me in the feels when I see these, and side by side, yeah, those are those are really, really cool. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart for this book.
Yes, I mean, it's a book with history too. Like, so again,
Yeah.
she did come back, so it kind of softens the blow. But no,
It was
totally,
only
that's
like
a great.
she came back in 191, so it was only or 190, so it was like 10 issues later. So she was only dead for about a year. But she only came in 168. So that it's rare for a character to get introduced, not be around that long, but have enough of an impact that the death is so big, and then a year later her return is so big. So it's a nice little cycle there.
That must have been shocking to read back in the day when it came out, because again, it was very rare for death in comics, and they usually didn't bring people back. So, anyways, all right. Now, Brendan, you accepted the responsibility. You have to pick 3 that are at the top of the list here, and you got to pick one that moves on to the semifinals. And I know you were prepared. This wasn't scheduled. It wasn't on your calendar, but you jumped in admirably to fill in for us. And I hate to dump this on you, but while you're thinking about it, I'm going to show my last book, my last fresh get. And Chris, as I was saying, I don't usually show off DC books that much, but I found some nice ones like Green Lantern, and this one right here too. I had to pick this one up. It just feels good holding it. This is Justice League 100. It's 50. It's 50 cents for this book.
That.
This thing is ginormous.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
wait, what issue was that? 100.
100. Yeah.
Nice.
The bag. I gotta replace the bag, but I don't have bags big enough for that. But I was very happy to pick this one up at a reasonable price as well. So yeah, nice. That is my last fresh get of the week. I feel like I did all right. I don't normally do that well. Wait, Mark Leneker says it's not 100. Oh, my bad. Wait.
Is it the 100 page?
It's a 100-page spectacular. Yeah.
Number 47.
A 100-pager, but not issue
47.
100. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Right there, above June. That's much. Yeah, I was saying that's much earlier.
No, that's DC. It says DC 17 above June. So, anyways, we'll take it to Mark. He'll let us know what that is.
Yeah.
That's my ignorance of Silver Age DC books. So, when I felt like I had to pick it up.
Those giants though from that era are freaking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, Brendan, we need to check in with you.
All right. So you need 3. First one.
Well, you need to pick out, if you want, you can pick out 3 that stick out to you, but you ultimately have to pick the one that moves on to the semifinals.
Okay, I got to pick one.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. Well, 2 runners up. One would be the Daredevil one. I'm not going to give it to that one. I feel like people might think I was a little biased there, but
that's good.
I do love the fact that you've got the original and the homage to the original next to each other, along with the playing cards for Bullseye. So I very much appreciate that. I also really like the Batman book with Kevin Conroy. That when we talked about, I felt like it's a beautiful Batman Beyond cover. The story about Kevin Conroy having that signature on there. I'm also a big fan of when people incorporate figures and statues and stuff into the shots. Not really sure how Red Hulk fits in, but I like the effort.
That's his. What do you say, Jeff? What do you say about the approval?
It is okay. So that is his stamp of approval. Literally, if Red Hulk is in front of it, that's literally his stamp of approval. So
you know what? I'm on board then. But the one that stood out to me the most actually was the Mighty Thor. And one of the big things, because it was very hard to tell that the Hulk was not actually part of the cover on the bottom there. That's part of his custom holder.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's a beautiful shot. It's a beautiful shot. Nice depth of field, nice and shallow. But he got the focus. It's not off. But it does look like, because the Hulk font. It's the same rough size as the Mighty Thor at the top. And it goes over the bottom really well to the point where for a second I thought that was actually part of the cover. I love the colors on that cover are just beautiful. I'm a sucker for bowl cut Hulk from back in the day. But yeah, I like also how it's not straight on. He's got it angled a little bit, just adds a little bit more depth to it. So I think it's just a nicely composed shot. I give credit for the book and for the holder.
Nice.
All right. Supercrispy.comics is moving on to the semifinals. We'll have your who you're going up against. We'll pick that one next week, but he is appreciative of this. So again, keep up the good work with that. The woodwork you do and the leather work. Really, really creative person right there.
Fooled me.
I also have some information on my 100 pages are confusing. It has its own line, but then they started doing 100 pages within character runs. So that's got it. Okay. Anyways, I liked it. I really thought it was really nice. Anyways, nice, but it's not about me. Wow, Brendan, you took that and ran with it. I thought you'd be a little shy, like, because it's a heavy weight to put on your shoulders. Again, I think you are going to earn this college credit that you're earning from this appearance on the show. So good for you. You just let me know.
Day one of my internship.
Exactly. Yeah, not a bad idea, Chris.
Why not? Yeah,
let's write that one down. All right, so Chris, we did Fresh from the Comic Shop. We skipped over our other favorite segment. So we're just going to get into it. And Brendan, we would love your input. We're not sure how much you know about the market and things like that, but I have an idea you'd be able to lend some of your input into this. So Chris, why don't we just give it a go, shall we? I've been talking this whole time, Chris. How about you introduce the segment?
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. If I would have came in late for props or flops, then that just would have sucked. I wouldn't be doing my job. So props or flops, guys. This segment is where we break down your guys' submissions. Remember, specifically market-based. So this isn't about, hey, we give that props because you love the book. We're putting all that stuff aside. This is strictly investing, speculative, fair market value, market growth, future gain, etc., etc., etc. What you need to do to enter props or flops, you upload any comic book to Instagram. This comic book could be a comic that you just purchased. It could be a comic that you're interested in purchasing, or one that just came up on your radar and you're really thinking, would this be a good investment, short-term, long-term, etc. When you upload the book, make sure you use the hashtag props or flops. But remember, hashtags on Instagram don't work too well. So make sure you tag Comic Book Canon. Also tag me, journos_comics. And we'll, of course, break down the book live here on our show. Now, you want to give us a description of why you either just bought the book or why you're interested in investing in the book. Tell us what your reason is. If you have purchased the book, let us know what you paid, because that allows us to say, well, you overpaid, flops. You underpaid, it could gain a value, props.
Oh, looks like Chris froze. He looks like he's taking a deep breath. Okay.
Yeah, just
his computer died last time. So anyways, I'll reemphasize this as well. It's important to tag us in there as well, because the hashtags are garbage these days, and I do not know why.
They're not getting better, too. It's been a while. You'd think that they would have improved and figured it out.
Yeah, I'm going to remove Chris here because it's kind of awkward looking. But exactly, we have problems with Fresh from the Comic Shop. We have problems with props or flops. So make sure to tag Comic Book Canon journos as well, and we will be sure to take a look at them. I do want to tease next week. Raising Elm has I hate this word, Brendan. I hate it, but I don't know how else to describe. He's got a banger. He's got a banger for next week for props or flops. But we'll get into
I know what you mean. I only use the word bangers if I'm talking about like bangers and mash. I'm talking about the food.
Exactly.
And mash, then it's okay.
I don't know. I haven't been hanging out with somebody that keeps saying banger. I just don't know. Maybe it's you. Maybe
I'm
it's
too old for that.
I don't know, man. You Boston people with your Wicked and Wicked Smart and all that stuff. So anyways, I'm going to leave that alone. I don't know you that well. to make fun of you for the Boston.
Nah,
Here we
it's
go.
okay.
Why don't we just get into it? I'm going to give it a go to try and read this. Chris usually, but this is actually one of our props or flops. I mean, fresh from the comic shop. So,
oh yeah,
I'm not sure what Chris wanted to discuss. This one I think may be a little bit easier to go through. Found these two bad boys for $2 a piece at Half Price Books the other day. I'm not a huge fan of Disney stuff, but I knew the Darkwing Duck #1 had some value. The Beavis and Butthead #1 is probably staying in the PC because I like the show. A quick eBay search makes me feel pretty good about what I paid. But my question for you, Chris, if I paid the fair market value for these books, would you give that purchase a props or a flops for a long-term investment? The Darkwing Duck is about a very fine new mint, and the Beavis and Butthead is a very fine. So, Brandon, we're going to need, you and I are going to need to do a little research because Chris always does some research. Well, we want to know props or flops from you guys too. So, please leave that in the comment. Oh, there's Chris. Actually, yeah, we'll have Chris do it. Chris, I just read the Darkwing Duck and Beavis and Butthead section.
This is I just can't catch a break today. My internet went out. It's completely down. Usually, if it cuts out, we know how AT&T works, but it is down. I don't know what's going on. So I do apologize about that. Okay, so Jeff, Brandon, audience, if you guys don't mind, because I cut this up for my channel, we're gonna have to go in. Can we bring it up? First off, where did I cut out? Did you guys hear everything about props or flops?
You cut out mid sneeze.
Yeah, you didn't finish the intro.
All right, I'm gonna do it. Can we bring that up? And maybe there's some new people. We're just gonna bear with me, guys. I'm gonna do a real brief intro, and we'll go over. I'm gonna have to go over Darkwing Duck again. Is that good? We good?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Once again, props or flops. This is strictly for investment speculative purposes. You upload any comic to Instagram, make sure you hashtag props or flops. Make sure you tag Comic Book Canon as well as journals_comics. Tell us why the book interests you. Tell us what you paid for it if you just purchased it, etc., etc. It could be a book that you have not purchased yet. Tell us why you're interested in investing or speculating on this book, and we will break it down live on our show. We do have 2 submissions, 3 books this week. Jeff, like you said, you brought up Darkwing Duck. Should we go right back into it?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's I'm checking out these prices right now on Cover Price, and I'm
oh yeah.
I'll let you say it, actually. I'll let you talk about it.
Actually, do you mind? I'm on my phone. Can you read it one more time? And you're gonna have to read the other one too. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Found these two bad boys for $2 a piece at Half Price Books the other day. I'm not a huge fan of Disney stuff, but I knew the Darkwing Duck #1 had some value. The Beavis and Butthead #1 is probably staying in the PC because I like the show. A quick eBay search makes me feel pretty good about what I just paid. But my question for you, Chris, if I paid a fair market value for these books, would you give that purchase a props or a flops for a long-term investment? Darkwing Duck is about a very fine new mint, and Beavis and Butthead is very fine.
All right. So a couple things to look at. He's specifically asking us if he paid a fair market value. Well, he paid under fair market value right there. So $2 for each of these books is a props all day. But Jeff, we can't put props up on screen yet because he's asking us a specific question, right?
Yeah.
So we should approach it coming from what he's asking. But yeah, these books at $2 a piece, I don't care if their fair market value was $2. I would still buy them all day just because they're nostalgic, they're classic, they're fun, right? I mean, especially folks that grew up with these characters, watching these cartoons. $2, even in an investment purpose, 20 years down the line, there's going to be some nostalgia value there for these books. But he said, what'd he say about a very fine near mint for Darkwing Duck?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, so you're looking at about maybe, a $8 to $10 book right there right now for that. And then he said, what about a very fine for Beavis and Butthead?
Yes.
Okay. So very fine for Beavis and Butthead. You're probably looking at about, probably about a $15-16 book. If he was to pay just, roughly 15, $8, $10, would have to be a total of $25 or so for these books, would I give that a props or a flops? I would say I would still give it a props, even if he paid current fair market value. Now, here's the reason why. One, Darkwing Duck #1 is down a bit. So we know that actually, scratch that. I was looking at the wrong Darkwing Duck.
I was going to say, yeah, this one is the Darkwing
Wow.
Duck
Yep.
limited series.
I was
And
looking at the IDW. Wow. Okay, guys. Oh my God. I can't win today.
No, you corrected yourself, because this Darkwing Duck is. Go
Yep.
ahead, Chris.
You're looking at about a $50 book for that Darkwing Duck. Whew, man. All right. So let's actually take a step back. Beavis and Butthead at about a $15 fair market value right now. I definitely still think that is a props. It's a decently high grade and a very fine. And again, just the nostalgia alone. This is going to have nostalgia where collectibles are collectibles because of nostalgia, not just because it's a comic book. You might have Beavis and Butthead fans wanting to collect this 20 years from now that don't even collect comic books just because it's Beavis and Butthead. So I do see it's a low risk because it's only about $15. It's not a lot of money. I mean, if you could sell this book for $30 10 years from now, I will give that a props. Darkwing Duck now, roughly about a $50 book in that high grade. The thing you want to look at for that I'm going to look at here real quick while I'm here is we're going to look at what it's been doing on the market. And if we go back to even during the COVID boom, this book was more around a $30 to $40 book. Actually, there was an outlier that sold for $90 later on in October of 2021, but that is an outlier because you go back in the last couple of months of 2021, you have a $31 book and then a $54 book. So I do think that you're taking a bit of a risk in terms of the market right now if you were to pay around $50 for this book. And that's simply because we don't know what the market's going to do over the next year. So it is kind of scary, with the way the world is right now. But putting these two together, even at those prices, I probably still would give it a props because I think even if this book dips for the short term, I think long term, the book's going to continue to have that value, that nostalgic value. So I think either way you look at this 360, it's a props all day for these books, but especially you coming out of these books for $2 each. I mean, that's just, that's one of those moments where you seize the day and you look back and you're like, wow, that was awesome because you could flip this and, have probably $50+ in your pocket today. So all around, I think this was a props for me.
Brendan, your thoughts?
Darkwing, 100%. I give that one props for the simple fact that, I mean, if you pay $2 for this thing, then you pay a little bit more to get that thing pressed and slabbed, and you've totaled like 30, $40. But just looking, at the sales of this in a 9.8, which, maybe that's a little bit high, but he said it's VF to near mint if he gets it pressed and he hits that, but this book hasn't sold for less than like $160 since like 2019. So yeah. in a 9.8, but if you go, if you're going to go a little bit less than that, and instead, maybe you're looking at like a 9.6 or a 9.4, you're still, especially for a $2 entry,
yep.
You're absolutely going to make your money back and then some. So to me, yeah, I'd say an absolute prop. Especially with the fact that Marvel is actually launching a new Darkwing Duck comic right now, and it's most likely going to be getting revived as a show on Disney Plus. There's going to be some more kind of, fervor around that. So it's definitely one that I think it has short-term and long-term potential. Short-term right now with the buzz around those, but long-term, it's a Disney character that is going to be that kind of legacy character, especially for people grew up in the 80s and 90s and remember that original cartoon. The nostalgia factor is there. So yeah, I'd say it's a prop all day. Beavis and Butthead is like, it's thrown in there with it. For $2, there are very few things that I think you would call a flop in that case.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe someday there'll be another big, Beavis and Butthead craze and you make your money back and then some.
For sure. Like, absolutely. I think it's props all day on both of them. Darkwing Duck has, there's more potential with that. Chris, look at Chris got his computer working. Good job.
Hey, there he is.
No doubt it's props. I know Beavis and Butthead is not as hefty as Darkwing Duck is. But again, that's fantastic. Oh, I guess the question was though, if you bought it at fair market value. Shit. That changes things for me.
Well, I'll say to Brendan's point too, because even fair market value of a 9.6 right now is around 140, 150. Even if you paid $50 for that Darkwing Duck book and you paid $30 to send it to CGC and get it back, and it doesn't, maybe you pay $10, $15 to get it pressed and clean, and it comes back even a 9.6, and you could sell it at fair market value, you're still going to have extra money in your pocket.
Yeah, not to mention, those are the kind of books too that you have to be willing to play the long game in some of them too, and realize that look, short term you may be able to get a little back, or it may not do that much, but there are certain kind of it's almost like fashion where things go around in cycles, and then kids today are wearing stuff from like the 80s and 90s and think they invented it. Right. Sure it's the same thing. They think they just discovered the most, the best thing since sliced bread. And it's the same thing with certain characters like that, with Darkwing, with Beavis and Butthead, that, that nostalgia cycle will swing. And so long-term, I think those characters, as ridiculous as like Beavis and Butthead are, I think do have potential down the road for those random spikes in pop culture. And so if you got it at fair market value today and you're willing to play the long game and you wait for one of those big spikes, you could flip that and make a good amount of money.
Yeah, $15. Totally. Absolutely. You got it for $2, which is just incredible. So kudos to that. So I think we all agree here on props. Chris, we're going to move on to the next submission, which was also a fresh from the comic shop submission, I do believe. So let's bring it up, shall we?
Let's do it. All right. We got Josh's Comics, Josh Comics 01
from Delaware.
This beautiful Batman. What is it? Batman 144. Oh shoot, I got it right here. He didn't state the number. Batman 155.
155.
That's right. Let's read what he wrote though. First Silver Age appearance of the Penguin. Another huge grail acquired for my Rogue Gallery first appearances. That's awesome. Definitely on the low grade side, but it's extremely happy. But he's extremely happy to have it. Let's just say that. It's in the 2.0 to 3.0 range, and looking forward to getting it graded. Hashtag. All right. So Josh, next time, great submission. I'm gonna love talking about this book in a minute. If you don't mind sharing what you paid for this book, that would help us out. Because
right here, Chris.
Oh, he's here. Yes. All right.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Josh paid $224 for this awesome Batman book. Look, I've been saying this ever since I've been making video content on YouTube. DC is especially Silver Age, Bronze Age, of course. DC is overlooked. DC Comics are overlooked. They have been for the past 11 plus years. Ever since we knew Thanos was coming, ever since we had Avengers assemble on the big screen, that's when we really started seeing the speculative hype from movies. And who did it? Well, it was Marvel. We really didn't have it too much, outside of the Batman 89 hype. We really didn't see the market do what it does until the MCU. So unfortunately, we know what the DCEU has done for 10 years. Nothing. Some people might argue with me, but when it comes to comic book sales, it's been rough. There isn't that correlation yet. So DC Comics, I'm telling you guys, there is so much potential in DC Comics. The thing that a lot of people forget these days is this. Comics have intrinsic value that is inherent to the books themselves. There's people that think that comic books only get valuable because the character shows up in a movie. It's not how it works, and it hasn't worked that way for, 80 years. That's one factor now, yes, and it matters. You take that into consideration and you look at Silver Age books and how they have gained value over the years. Then you look at the intrinsic reasons to why, that intrinsic value. What does it mean? Silver Age first appearances of Golden Age characters in the Silver Age. Batman, one of the most popular superheroes and iconic superheroes of all time. Batman's Rogue Gallery, some of the most iconic villains of all time. All of those things right there tell me that this is an amazing book to have in your collection if you care about value and future investment value. Now, he said he paid what? $224 for this book?
Yep.
Okay. 224?
Yeah, 224. Yep.
All right. He's saying he's estimating it between a 2 and a 3.0. Now, we know that when you look at raw books and fair market value of raw books, it's subjective. Because when you go on eBay and somebody has a book for sale that's raw and they say, this is a very good. Well, I've seen people put like books that have, a quarter of the cover and they call it a very good. Then they say, oh, this is a very fine, and it has like half of the back cover ripped off. So it's subjective. Taking into consideration that subjectivity. Right now, in the very good range, which is 3.0 to 4.5, okay? The last 3 sales over the last 6 months have all been over the price that Josh paid for this book. I'm going to tell you what those prices are. In July of 2022, it was $360. Now, remember, guys, that could be a 4.5, 4.0, something like that. The next sale was for $248 in October. And the next sale was just yesterday for $312. But what does that mean? That means that this book right here that could be in that range is he bought it for under that. Now let's look at the 1.5 to 2.5. Okay. 180 was the last sale in November. 389 was the last sale in May, and then 275 in April. Now remember that those could be books that are below what Josh paid. So we got to find some type of middle ground right there. And I'm going to estimate, if you look at all the prices and the grades, I'm going to say that Josh probably paid a decent fair market value currently for this book. I can't sit and say he overpaid or he underpaid. I think he paid a decent price for this book right now. Props or flops? I got to give it props. Because of 2 reasons. One, when you look at the market and what it's doing right now, it's Silver Age books like this that are having, for those books that are dropping with the state of the market, these books are holding more than a lot of your other books that are simply speculatory or obviously books that aren't Silver Age. This is a book that is going to continue to gain value over time no matter what. It doesn't need movie hype. The Penguin doesn't need to show up in a movie. Although, we had a great Penguin in Matt Reeves' The Batman. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the market continues to ebb and flow, because for me, this isn't a short-term flip. This is something that Josh can hold on to, and in 5 years from now, I can guarantee, if we're still doing the show, Jeff, I will end my channel. I will end. If I'm still doing this show, I'll quit. If I'm still doing Journos Comics, I'll quit my channel. If this book in 5 years, if he cannot sell it for more than he paid right now, I don't care what the economy does, I will quit Journos Comics. I give this book a props.
All right. Brandon, your take on this.
100%.
Brendan, I'm sorry.
I give
Brandon.
That's all right. My in-laws have been doing that for 20 years now. 100% give that a props. It's there, like Chris mentioned, there are books and characters and keys that don't need hype around a movie or a TV show. Now, that being said, I think right now is a if you're looking for short term or in the next like 5 years, investments and money makers, DC is the place to look because people are talking about the James Gunn effect, right? Yep. And every time there's a casting announcement or a trailer drop or a director announcement in Marvel, you see those books spike. They almost all of them crater immediately after the release of something, right? Not because even if the movie was really good, or there's just because it's like, okay, now everybody's moving on to the next thing. So short term, as DC starts to unveil that plan, you're going to see that a lot. And Matt Reeves's Batman movie was very well received. Colin Farrell's performance as Penguin was very well received. And the show on HBO Max is moving forward. So I think you will see a spike in Penguin keys around that show. And if you need money in the short term, that's a good way to do it. Me personally, I'm with Chris. This is a long-term book because, look, the first Silver Age appearance of Penguin, that it's not going down. Like you'll have ebbs and flows, but it's not going to go from $400 to a $20 book. It's not going to do that, right? You're going to have a floor that you're not going to go beneath, and such an iconic character. And and that book, even if it's a 3, which was like on the low end of what he had estimated, I think, even if it's a 2 or 3, it presents really well. That's a good long-term investment that I think will hold its value. You just have to kind of be willing to play that long game and have the patience, because a lot of people think they will, and then they see a spike and then they want to jump on it because they think, oh, I got to do this. It's, it's like Miles Morales right now. What did that ridiculous $43,000 just happen for, Ultimate Fallout? Even Brian Michael Bendis, who co-created the character, put on his Instagram story a picture of that and then a gif of Tom Holland say, what just happened? Like, he was shocked. Like, are you serious? Because everybody's like, oh, Miles, he's going to be in the MCU or this or Across the Spider-Verse movie, and it's going to spike and everything like that. And they get the fear of missing out on a sale, on the money that they might be able to make in the short term, when they don't stop to think, man, give it another 10, 20, 30 years, Miles is going to be like Peter. He's going to be that character that is just iconic, and that, he already is to a certain extent. So if you're willing to play that long game and not like get sucked into, oh, I got to flip this now before it goes down, relax, because it's going to go down, then it's going to go back up, but it's going to steadily go up over a long term.
Josh says that this is staying in his PC, so it's, that doesn't matter. But I agree with you guys completely, because Brendan, as you were saying, it's going to be like the stock market. You'll have your dips, but it'll continue to go up. So
you got to not get freaked out by those.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's why I haven't looked at my little bit of stocks. I haven't looked at them in 6 months. I'm like, I can't do it, because then you freak out one way or the other.
But at some point down the road, they'll get better, right? So it's again, exactly. I think it's a great pickup. If it was an investment pickup, for sure, absolutely. Because again, these DC keys, and Mark Lineker brought up a really good point. You can find DC Silver Age that are better, I believe, priced than a lot of the Bronze Age Batman books. So Keep an eye out there, guys, because now is the time to buy them, but we're nearing the end of the time to kind of jump on and get some deals, because James going to start announcing what, and Peter Safran are going to start announcing what their plans are in the next 10 years, starting this month. So we're looking at the next couple weeks. So things are going to start getting tighter in terms of the speculative market. So
enjoy those books in your PC for the next like 30 years, and then have one hell of a retirement.
There you
go. When you're ready, you know.
Good way to put it too. 100%. So another great props or flops, Christopher. We'll have some more entries next week. I was teasing Raising Elms entry for next week. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. I'm psyched to show that one off. But once again, everybody, just upload any comic to Instagram and use the hashtag props or flops. Do not forget to tag Comic Book Canon and Journos on that post. Tell us why this book interests you. Tell us what you paid for it. And Chris will break it down live on the show. Speaking of the show, Brendan, man, thank you so much for jumping in. Chris, he was in the audience. Anytime. He's like, I'll do it. So really appreciate that. It's been a hectic night, but Chris, I hope you are breathing a little bit easier. Even though the Cowboys are up 12-0 as of Toby's last update. By the way, Dan doesn't want to wait the 30 years. He wants to be able to enjoy it at some point. The money. Come on, Dan. Technology's going to advance.
Give it 10. Give it 10.
Exactly, 10. And Josh with a little tease. I'll have another Batman first appearance for you next week.
Nice. I want to let everyone know too, guys. You know, we can only do so many every week. There was a couple other submissions for props or flops this week that were awesome. Don't worry, we'll get yours on the show. You just might have to have a little patience. All right. So yeah, there was I think at least 2 that probably will carry over to next week. So again, and that goes for anybody submitting this week. If they don't make next week's, just, you know, it might have to wait for the next one, but we'll get everyone on.
Yep, for sure. We promise. We've never let you down, other than just like a few dozen times. That's not true. Brendan, again, thank you so much for joining us. Can you please DM us the show that you kind of go on every once in a while? Want to be able to put that in the comments. But again, really appreciate you stepping in. Chris, I'm glad things are settled. You're in your abode right now. How you feeling? Hectic day?
Yep. I mean, everything from getting my internet cut off to pulling up the wrong Darkwing Duck. I mean, you got through.
You're okay. You're okay. Honestly, that's your first mistake in props or flops.
Yeah, well, usually I prep all that stuff, but I didn't have time this week, guys. So.
Yeah, it was a difficult day this week. But again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. You, the audience, you're what makes this show go. You are, the reason we do it. We enjoy being with you every show. We'll be live again Monday. That's our new days. Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Until then, be good to yourself and be good to others. Peace.